Austin, I think you need to reverse engineer who you're selling to. So if I were you, Austin, I would spend all of January taking people out to lunch and dinner or a drink or getting them on the phone, but literally spending the entire month of January not selling to people and just listening to the people that you sell to figure out what their pain points are. I would walk in and be like, hey, D-Rock, you know I sell you computer stuff and things of that nature. What are your pain points? What's your problem? What's your struggles in your business? Like, let's cut the crap. Like, yes, I wanna sell to you, but let's take a step back. I wanna sell to you by providing you some sort of value. Maybe I have a friend. Maybe I will recommend that you watch the Ask Gary Vee show to make your business better. Maybe I'll do a lot of things, but what I'm doing is I'm providing you value, and our conversation and our relationship is not just predicated on me selling. You know, it's kind of like, I was talking to one of my friends, he's like, I wanna have better relationships with girls. I'm like, cool, why don't you make it something about other than sex? Like if your whole relationship is like, I wanna hang out with you every time to just hook up, there's probably a good chance that person doesn't think that you're providing them much value outside of that execution, which is a fine execution, everybody needs it, I get it, blah, blah, blah. Same way I think about sales. If you're just selling every single time, that is what your foundational relationship is based on, and you become spam and sales all the time. Why don't you spend all of January not selling ever once and opening your ears and listening and trying to help even outside of the context of you? Even outside the context of you. Meaning, how can you help them besides just their business? Maybe you'll get to know D-Rock and find out that his aunt is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, and you just get a Dallas Cowboys hat. Say, hey, you go to eBay and buy a Tony Dorsett opened starting lineup for 49 cents, $3 shipping, but you send in and say, hey, give this to your aunt. It's not what you spent, it was the thought. That stuff matters.
Top salespeople commit themselves to lifelong learning. This, by the way, changed my life so dramatically when I was 24, almost like I tripped over something and picked myself up, and it was a great treasure. And the treasure was that your mind is your most precious asset, and the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your sales career. If you commit yourself to lifelong learning, you will achieve such extraordinary success. And I cannot emphasize this too often. Read, listen to audio programs, attend seminars, and never forget that the most valuable asset you will ever have is your mind. As you continue to learn, you'll eventually become one of the most valuable salespeople in your company. The more knowledge you acquire that can be applied to practical purposes, the greater will be your rewards and the more you will be paid.
To see the clouds. This is about rainmaking, about sales. These are the things I learned about sales. First thing is, let 100 flowers blossom. This I stole from Chairman Mao, although it's not clear to me he implemented letting 100 flowers blossom. 100 flowers blossoms means that at the start of a company, you'll often see your people who are not your intended customers using your product or service, and they're going to be using it in ways you didn't anticipate. Many entrepreneurs go crazy. My God, the wrong people are buying our products in large quantities. What are we doing wrong? Let's get marketing and sales in here. We need to reposition the product because we know who should buy our product. Well, that's categorically stupid. Fundamentally, when you see this happening, first of all, take the money. Take the money. There's two theories in engineering for revising a product. One is you go to the people who aren't buying your product and you ask them, why aren't you buying our Macintosh, Mr. Fortune 500 CIO? And the CIO will say, you don't have a letter quality printer driver. You don't have Lotus 123. You come back to the lab, you convince Lotus to do it. You get a letter quality printer driver. You go back to the Fortune 500 CIO. You say, all right, we listened. Now there's a printer driver. Now there's 123. They still won't buy it. They still won't buy it. The other theory in engineering is you go to the people who are buying your product, Mr. Desktop Publishing or Ms. Desktop Publishing. Why are you buying our product? Because it's WYSIWYG, because it's high resolution printing. So you come back to the labs and you say, wow, people are buying our product to use it for desktop publishing, not spreadsheet, database, and word processing like we intended. And what do they need for desktop publishing system? They need bigger monitors. They need higher resolution printers. They need higher resolution monitors. They need all these things to make desktop publishing better. That's my theory. Fix for who's buying. Ignore the people who are atheists. Atheists are too hard to convert to your religion. Go for agnostics and go for believers. Forget the atheists. Second point is, you need to enable people to test drive your product. That you're saying to them, I think you're smart, and because I think you're smart, I'm not going to bludgeon you into becoming my customer. Take home my product, take home my service, try my software, try my website, then you decide. The third point is to suck down. One of the fundamental shortcomings of sales training is that you think, or many people think, that selling a new product is about sucking up. You need to suck up to CXO level people, suck up to a CIO, suck up to a CTO, suck up to a CEO, a CMO, sucking up to CXO level people. It has been my experience that particularly from a tech startup, the people who truly make the decision to try a product or service are not the people with CXO, vice president, or director level titles. They are the people who are administrative aides and database administrators and tech support people. They're the interns, they're the summer hires. They're people without titles. They're the people who really do the work, however. And so if you want to be successful in sales, you have to understand something, that in most organizations, the higher you go, the thinner the oxygen, and therefore the more difficult it is to find intelligent life, right? So if you dedicate yourself in a sales effort to sucking up, you'll be sucking up to the dumbest people in the organization. You need to learn to suck down, and you need to learn to suck across, because that's where the decisions are made for a high-tech startup. Suck down, suck across, don't just suck up.
And this is the one where everyone goes, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson, right? One of the things that we do in our business is we take experts and we teach them how to package their information up into products like ebooks and other information products and sell them. Well, when I start talking to these experts, almost universally, they say things like, I've got all the content, I just need to find someone who can market and sell it for me. And when I say to them, well, you know what would probably be good for you is to actually learn some marketing and sales, they go, oh, I don't want to learn. I'm not a salesman. They kind of like look down at salespeople like it's some like lower form of human business scum or something like that. And, you know, you imagine, oh, okay, I have to put on a funky, like a weird suit and like a windbreaker, like a car salesman in order to sell my product. I would never want to do that. Well, when you really learn sales, as I know you know, because you're a fantastic salesperson, that the best selling methods are consultative selling, where you don't sit down and try to talk someone into buying. You sit down and you say, let me ask you some questions. Let me learn about you and find out what all your problems are, and let me see if what I have is even a fit. And then once you've found out where they're at, what their problems are, what all the challenges they're facing are, and what they'd like to accomplish, then you sell solutions. You sell them fixing their problems. You sell them getting what they want, not your thing. And the best of the best of the best salespeople are the ones that walk in and sit down and ask a bunch of questions and then say, my product can't help you. Let me refer you to someone who can, because those are the people that win the trust, and that when they say, this is the thing that will solve your problem, the prospect says, that's the thing I need, because they're trustworthy. So learning consultative selling and really learning how to sell like a professional is very important.
I spent 17 years getting a formal education. Competition's good. Competition's healthy. For who? Imagine if you were the only marketing company in the world. Is that better than having millions of marketing companies? Exactly. I want to own the sector. I want to own the sector. I want somebody, when somebody thinks about sales training, I want them to equate Grant Cardone. And whatever I have to spend to get there, I'll spend to get there. I want to own the sector completely. I don't want to compete in it. So one way you could own a sector is by tweeting, okay? If you're not tweeting or Facebooking or YouTubing, okay, or using LinkedIn, if you aren't using these free mediums to communicate to the world, you're not in the game, man. You're not in the game, okay? Now, this morning, if you look at my Twitter account today, because this is more than just about selling and closing a transaction. If I don't have anybody to pay attention to me, I can't sell or close. Would you agree? Yeah. Look, there's nobody here, man. Hey, man, I'm a good salesman. I can shut you down right now. Who am I talking to? Myself? I need people. Obscurity is the biggest problem your business has. There is no bigger problem than obscurity. It's not money, it's not financing, it's not price, it's not value, it's not package. It is one thing, obscurity. All those media programs that you saw me on this morning, they all tell you that there's not enough money, the banks aren't loaning, consumers don't have confidence, people aren't healthy, the economy's in trouble. Dude, none of those are the problem. The problem is nobody knows you. I don't know you, man. I don't know you. Who are you? Right? Price doesn't matter at this point. Value doesn't matter at this point. The package, the offer, the problems. I don't know you. If you don't know me, you can't buy my books. Obscurity is a bigger problem than money, okay? So I'll go broke just trying to get out of obscurity, and I'm going to use these free mediums to do so.
Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, everything is selling and everybody is a salesperson. Whether you're a dentist, a doctor, a preacher, a teacher, a coach, a child, a music minister, doesn't make any difference what it is that you do. Everybody is a salesperson. Let me share a couple of examples with you of what I'm talking about. When I was between the 11th and 12th grades, during World War II, I went to junior college so I could pick up some extra classes so I could get in the Naval Air Corps. All right? Now, I had to pick up an extra course in history in order to graduate, and so I would be free then the following my senior year to take a lot of extra math and science. Well, I didn't want to take American history. What possible good is it going to do me, to learn something that happened 100 years ago or 200 years ago? But I had to learn it, so I was going to go in there, and I was at least going to pass, but don't think I'm going to try to remember it. I'll just transfer the knowledge from the teacher to my mind to the pad, and then I'll get out of there, and that'll end it. But the teacher threw me a curve. He was Coach Joby Harris at Hines Junior College in Jackson, Mississippi. And you're talking about a salesman, folks. He was a salesman. He spent that entire first period selling me on why I had to learn my history. He really put the story on me. He also sold me that as an individual, if I had any ability that permitted me to do more than support my family, that I had a moral obligation to my fellow human being and my community to donate some of my services for the betterment of mankind. I walked out of that classroom that day a history major. Only subject I made consistent A's in throughout the time I was in college. What I do today in all of the activities outside of my actual business was directly, emphatically influenced by that salesman, a school teacher, Coach Joby Harris. Everything is selling. I'll never forget when our second daughter was born. Our first child was 3 years old at the time. And I'd been out on the road not long after our baby came home from the hospital. I'd been out on the road and I got stuck. There was a snowstorm and I spent the night in a Greyhound bus, fortunately, on the side of the road. When I got in the next morning, I was exhausted. There was about 10 inches of snow on the ground. And I'd no sooner walked in and just had my top coat and my gloves and my hat off when the redhead said to me, "Well, honey, we got to go to the store. We need some things." So I reluctantly put all the gear back on. And my 3-year-old said, "Daddy, I want to go." And I said, "Oh, Susie," I said, "the weather's too bad. It's too cold and wet, and I won't be gone long." But she said, "Daddy, I'll be so lonely." I said, "Oh, Susie, you won't be lonely." I said, "Your mother's here, the maid's here, your baby sister is here." I said, "You won't be lonely." She looked right at me and she said, "But Daddy, I'll be lonely for you." I don't need to tell you, she went to the store with me. You see, the truth of the matter is everything is selling. The third example, at our church, we recently got a new music minister. Now, please understand that I've got the kind of voice that prompted Mitch Miller to write me a personal letter asking me not even to bother to sing along with. And I want you to understand it. My own children asked that I not sing in church. But last Sunday was our first Sunday, and this minister had the congregation so excited, he sold them so much on participating. Now, he knows his music too, but he had us so gung-ho that for the first time in my life, I actually enthusiastically got involved in the singing process. Everything, ladies and gentlemen, is selling. I mean, everything is selling, and that's one of the reasons that I'm so excited about it.